A very good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to the KSR Data Vision. So we would be starting with basic introduction. I want some answers from you people as well, because communication should be vice versa, both the ways. I would be anyways communicating, I would be explaining what we would be covering, what all this course is about, what the duration is about, but I would be expecting some answers, maybe answers in the sense I'll not call out certain names, only random answers you can give. That's how the communication should be, the interactivity should be. So it would help us, my understanding also, that how you people are grasping what I'm trying to explain. Yep. Very good morning, and let's continue. So the primary aim of this course is, if you want to become a data analyst, if you want to become a BI analyst rather than a data analyst, yeah, this is more specific to data. But in specific to data, there are multiple aspects. It might be data science also. We have data science, we have data engineering as well, and one more is data analyst. In case of data analyst, there are different aspects. If you are only dealing with SQL and Python, even this is called as data analyst. If you only are dealing with SQL and Python, even this is called as data analyst. But ours is more a kind of BI analyst. Now, what does this BI analyst mean? BI is nothing but a business intelligence. Now, wherever there is some business, wherever there is some sale, wherever there is some revenue being generated, for every revenue, there is a business. So for every business, how that business is running, we have to go back and understand. We have to go back and visualize that, whether we are on track, whether we are behind the track. So that visualization is called as business intelligence. So our course would be more a kind of BI analyst, yes, which is part of data analyst only. Along with data analyst services, along with data analyst technical aspects, we would be covering the BI analyst in detail. So if you want to become a BI analyst, if you want to become a data analyst, you are at the right place. For next 30 minutes, we would be covering what all skills is required, what this course is about, how you can enroll for this course, how this course is useful for current market, what the market trend is. So all that we would be covering in next 30 minutes. Yep. So to start with, I'll give my introduction. Myself, Ritesh. I have 6+ years of experience, all into data analyst and data engineering aspects. So I'm working for Microsoft. I'm working for Microsoft. Microsoft is my client from an Indian MNC. See, I have been working with Microsoft since last 5 years. Out of my 6.5 years of experience, I've been working with Microsoft since last 5 years. So that's how the collaboration with Microsoft has been. I work as a data analyst. I work as a data engineer. Now, what all things I work there? I start with, if you want to become a data analyst, if you want to become a data engineer, not only analysis, not only engineering you should be aware about, you should be also aware about what the data is, how a development can be done. Okay, engineering, analysis of data, reporting of data, yes, these are all important aspects. But from a data analyst or a BI analyst point of view, you should also understand what development can be done there, how data can be modified. So I have an expertise in data development, data engineering, and data analysis. Now, this is the last part. This is the main part which our course would be covering, which is reporting, which is nothing but your business intelligence. So I'm a certified data analyst and as well as a data engineer. I work in both the roles, getting the data as well as giving some intelligence, giving some analysis with the data which is present, which we are getting from multiple sources. So even though I work for Microsoft, I worked in multiple domains in Microsoft. Now the question is how Microsoft is related to retail, how Microsoft is related to banking. See, Microsoft sells multiple products in the market. One of the most common product is your Windows. Almost 50–60% of the devices in the world run on Windows. Devices specific to laptops, your desktops, run on Windows. So whatever Microsoft is selling in the market, it is nothing but your retail. Microsoft has their own internal revenue or banking system. They have their own internal banking system. They have their own internal healthcare system. Healthcare is related to their employees. So one of the largest organization in the world, they have their own internal systems, and their primary business stack is cloud business stack. So I've been working with all this business, all these verticals in the Microsoft. I have an exposure to train new joinees. So whenever who wants to upskill, who wants to, I mean, who usually joins any specific team under me. So I lead 3 different tracks. Well, while I work for Microsoft. So whomsoever joins there, I usually try to upskill them. So I've been associated with KSR since last 2 years also. So I also upskill, I also train students here. So that's how the progression, that's how my, I've been associated with this IT industry for 6.5 years. My incomplete detail, I mean, that's how I've been working with KSR, I've been working with Microsoft account. Now, going further, what would be the agenda for this session? How, what is important, what data analyst is, along with data analyst, what the BI stack is specifically. So that we would be covering. What is the current market exposure? I mean, what all tools are there, how the market is, how the jobs related to this data analysts or BI analyst, which we would be covering, what the job market is, so that we would be covering what all skills are required to become expertise to inherit the field of data analyst. Now, our primary aim or primary tool which would be covering is Power BI. So, I mean, BI is nothing but your business intelligence, and Power BI, it's a product of Microsoft. It's a MS product. So BI analyst is nothing but your Power BI analyst. In detail, specific to Power BI, we would be covering other data analyst related entities. Now, along with Power BI, I mean, only Power BI is very difficult. I mean, if you have, you might have seen, I mean, you people, if you have joined this course prior to that, you might have seen some market trends. There are many people who are learning Power BI, well and good. But along with Power BI, there are few other important services that we need to inherit. We need to understand, we need to learn that. So what all that important services are, how that services are useful, so that we would be covering all in detail in this course. We would be discussing what we would cover, what we would train in this course, what would be the duration. And from a data analyst point of view, or from a Power BI lead point of view, what is the future scope? So what would be the future trend? If you only learn Power BI, if you learn Power BI with some other services, what would be the future scope? And whether is it for next 5 years, whether is it for next 10 years, how the market trend would be. So that all we would be covering in this, right? So this is our primary agenda. So I'll not take much of the time. I'll try to cover all these aspects in next 25 to 30 minutes, which will give you a brief idea. And then if you have questions, please try to raise your hand. Okay, I'll try to answer in between also. But yeah, you can park your questions at the end. Maybe I'll try to answer it in detail at the end, right? So let's continue. So first, let's take an example. I'll try to ask a question. If you want to purchase a product, let's say any product, you want to purchase any perfume. You want to purchase any perfume. So I assume that many of you use perfume. Now, perfume doesn't mean only perfume, your body sprays as well. So if you want to purchase any body spray, if you want to purchase any perfume, how many of you will visit a normal shop, or how many of you will visit a superstore? A superstore may be D-Mart, maybe Big Bazaar, maybe any Geo Mart. So how many of you would prefer a normal shop, or how many of you prefer a superstore? Come on, I want answers. Just a random answer.
Superstores.
Okay. And why superstore? Any guesses or any reason to visit superstore?
Because they are organized in a better way.
Okay. Organization
Normal
is the
store
better way.
Less price compared to shop.
discounts.
Okay. So one is price, one is you have choice. You have multiple choices there. One is organized. Okay. Any other reasons?
I will choose normal store.
And why normal store?
Yeah, there are different types of perfumes will be there from different. I mean, they can export or from different countries. Different flavors are really there. Then compared to the superstore, they will keep only the few things which are going moving fastly. That's all. But in the normal store, that only the store they are keeping only perfumes means all type of perfumes they can maintain.
Okay. Now, a shop doesn't mean a perfume shop. It can be a normal your grocery shop as well.
Oh yeah, then my option is for superstore.
Yes. See, even if you are considering a perfume shop, usually a perfume shop will always have a superstore kind of feel. You can go, you can pick up your own product. That would be more a kind of, you'll have a set of perfumes which are organized in multiple racks. You have an option to test it. You can smell that. I mean, that's how it works. So any product, if you take into consideration, there are two entities. I mean, if you're going to a normal shop and if you're going to superstore. Now, the latest introduction is, okay, accepted. If you're taking a perfume, you need to visit, you need to test, you need to smell that, whether the perfume is suitable for me. But let's take an example of a product which you already know. That product is good, which you already know. Maybe a normal soap. You want to purchase a normal soap. Now, you cannot test a soap, right? You cannot test a soap. So in case of soap, there is third option. One is shop, a normal shop, a grocery shop or a normal shop. One is superstore. Now, after superstore, the current, which is, I mean, the last option, the third option, which is being frequently used. Now, in today's world, or maybe since last 2 or 3 years, these options have been frequently used is your online or your fast delivery. Now, what do you mean by fast delivery? The one who are from uh,
Zepto,
metro cities,
like
your Zepto, your
Flip,
Blinkit,
Flipkart or Amazon.
yep, even Flipkart or Amazon.
Swiggy,
The 10
Instamart.
minutes delivery, yeah, there are many options, many applications, there are many services which are available. Now, if you want to purchase a soap, and if I give an option, 90% people will go with the fourth option. They don't even visit a superstore because we cannot test a soap there. Oh, no, we already know that soap is good. So in that case, yeah, there is a difference. In case of superstore, if you would get it with 10 rupees, just an example. But if you go with online or fast delivery, you will get it at 15 rupees only. But the thing is, it would be delivered to you at your place. The place which you are setting, the place where you have ordered from, it would be delivered up till that specific space. So that's how the current market, if you take any specific product, how that product is organized, how that product, what all offers are there, how many choices are there, I mean, how the price would vary, all this components are taken into consideration. So that's how the data is also. If you look at the data in current market, assume that this is a data. So if you want to purchase a data, if you want to see the data, purchasing means you want to see the data. A data can be available in multiple aspects. It can be unorganized, it can be organized. And in case if it is organized, if you want to connect that data, you have to log in, you have to have a laptop, you have to have a mobile, you have to have a desktop. Somehow you need to connect to that data. But if you want to connect it from all three devices at whatever place you are, that component is called as cloud. That component is called as cloud. One is organized data accepted, but that organized data is located in some of the server. In order to access that server, or maybe it is located in one of the device. Assume that it is located in one of your laptop. You have to log into your laptop. But if that same data you want to get it from any part of the world, maybe using your mobiles, using your laptops, that can be cloud. So the same example which we had for perfume, the same example which we had for soap can be correlated with the data. Data is also somewhere like that. One is organized data, one is unorganized data, and one is a data which is organized or unorganized, irrespective of whatever format it is. But if you're trying to connect it from any part of the world, it is called as cloud. If you have a cloud, you can connect your data from any part of the world. So the current market is more about cloud, is more about organization of data. And why organization of data is required? Because if you take any example, the same example which we have taken, perfume. So if you're trying to purchase a perfume, how this perfume market is. So how would this superstore analyze whether which perfume have been purchased, what type of perfume, maybe how many perfumes have been purchased. So all this analysis can be done if they go back and understand their billing cycle. They want to go back and check their billing cycle, how, on which dates, what kind of perfumes were purchased, what quantity of perfumes were purchased, or maybe there are few stops, there are few stores which also, which also mention your name, that this person has purchased, whether you are male, whether you are female, what is your age group. So it all depends on what kind of information you're storing. They will try to go back and understand. They'll try to go back and fetch their data. They'll fetch their previous history details. So that's how the current business is. Wherever, whichever product, I'm not only saying with respect to product, whatever you're trying to purchase, whatever you're trying to, correlate, what you are trying to understand, wherever you go, the data is present. You take any specific example, not only a product. You want to go back and understand your transactions, how many transactions were done. Even for transactions, even for billing transactions, you have to go back and check how many billings were done in last 1 hour, how many billings can be done in one complete day. So all this analysis is nothing but your data. For any product, for anything in current market, you have to go back and understand. That is called as data, that is called as analysis. So everywhere, wherever you go, data is present. So data is an asset. You take any example, data is an asset. So for every data, for every asset of data, you need to go back and do some analysis. That analysis is done by data analyst or a BI analyst. A person who tries to go back and understand the data, get some insights and give that insights in an understanding manner is called as a data analyst. That's the role of data analyst. Yep, good. Let's take the same example, segregation of data in correct manner. Because if the data is not correctly segregated, it would be very difficult. So superstores are one of the best example. You visit any specific superstore. If you're trying to purchase a product, you can directly go to that specific rack. You can purchase a product because it is very easy to find. The data is organized. Even though the data is organized, the prices are also displayed. You can see the boards. The prices are also displayed here. So it is very easy to understand that what is the price, what is the amount we are spending on this product. So if you visit a normal shop, okay, it's very easy. Can you please go on mute? Okay. Now, prices, offers, many things will come into picture, but the first thing is how the data is organized, how the data is segregated. Superstores are one of the best example. Now, along with superstores, there is one more example, which is used or maybe which we can consider in day-to-day life. If anyone can guess which is one of the day-to-day life example where the segregation of data is there. Now I'll give you a hint. It is somewhere related to a shop only, or maybe you can call it as a superstore as well. But yeah, not a specific superstore. Now we have seen an example of superstores here. One of the day-to-day life example, best day-to-day life example.
Can it be a mall?
Yeah, mall can be, I mean, mall, it's anyways a superstore only.
Yeah.
Kitchen.
Very good. Kitchen can be, if you have an organized kitchen, yeah, that's how it is very easier to find any specific utensil.
Library.
Very good. Library, your kitchen. Any other example? Okay, so I've got a very good answer from medicine shop. Madhur. I've got an answer from Madhur, medicine shop. Okay, kitchen, it is up to us how we are
Wardrobe.
organizing. Yep, any other example?
Wardrobe, wardrobe.
Wardrobe, okay, your wardrobe. Okay. There are many examples. If I go on adding day-to-day life, many examples. See, one of the best example is your medicine shop. There are same medicines with similar names, but there is only one alphabetical change. Even that one alphabetical change will completely change the diagnosis. So from a data analyst point of view, you should go back and understand the data in depth so that it is very useful for the end user. What is the primary goal? What, I mean, the reason to create that data analysis is it should be easily understandable to the person who have requested, and the data should be very clean. If you take an example of medicine, see, a medicine can be named with any name. Just take an example of kerosene. Now, in case of kerosene, also you have 250, you have 500, or you have 600 as well, or 650 power. If you only mention kerosene, it is very difficult to identify what is 250, what is 500, or what is 650. I mean, which tablet is useful for me. So you have to specifically mention whether it's 250, whether it's 500, or whether it's 650. Now, for a data analyst, you will only get kerosene. You'll never expect anything like kerosene 250. You'll get kerosene. You have to go back and identify that whether kerosene 250 is correct here, kerosene 500 is correct here, or kerosene 600 or 650 is correct here. So that's how the role of data analyst is. One of the day-to-day life and one of the most important example is your medicine shop. Similar names, very few change in alphabetical names, yes, but with a very few changes, the diagnosis will completely change. So for a data analyst also, it is very important to go back and understand the data, which data is useful where, what, I mean, how you can segregate the data. That is more important. How you can bifurcate it, how you can combine the data, and how you can give the final results. That is the primary aim of the data analyst or a BI analyst to do all this analysis, right? So many examples. Library is also one of the best example. Your use of kitchen. If you are a very fond of cooking, if you have a well-organized kitchen, your cooking would be way more faster. Your wardrobe, you're trying to pick up some clothes, you're trying to pick up some item which you put in the wardrobe. If it is well organized, it is very easier to get a product. So that's how the segregation, that's how the bifurcation of data is, that's how the partition of data would be useful. And once the partition is done, we can do the analysis of it. So we have seen few examples. Let's continue further. See, this is just an example. This is just a table. I mean, I've taken a random table. This will give you some voters, or maybe let's look at as a table manner only, not look at the data. So if you look at this information and if you look at this information, there is a very drastic change. Now, this is a YouTube stream analysis data. This dashboard is developed by one of our students only. We have taken this dashboard from our students. He has also posted in the online portals. So he was part of KSR. We have specifically developed this dashboard from our end. Now, this is YouTube stream analysis, and this is all live data. You can see the data is available till 29/9. This is all live data. This is connected to the live data. Now, there are multiple ways to connect data. Live is one of the option which is available. There are many other options also that we would be discussing further. Now, if you take a look at this table and if you take a look at this data, now as a normal individual also, it is very interesting to view the charts and visuals. Rather than going with the table data, it is very interesting to view this data. Why? Because color combination is there, a blue color combination, whatever color combination you're trying to take. You have multiple KPIs here. These are all the KPIs. KPI 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. KPIs is nothing but a key performance indicator. How many comments are there? How many subscribers are there for the YouTube? How many countries I have analyzed? I've only analyzed, or the person who have developed this report, our student, he has only analyzed 29 countries, not all the countries. How many likes are coming? And what is their rank? Now, rank means ranking of the channels, the YouTube channels. What is their view statistics? The one who are speaking, can you go on mute, please? So it is very important from any person. If you take a look at this table, the previous table, and if you take a look at this, it is very easy to understand this from a reporting. This is nothing but a report. This report is developed in Power BI. Now, Power BI is a product of Microsoft. How is it developed? That all we would be discussing in further sessions. But just to give you an idea, a data can be in a raw manner, which is tabular manner. This is very difficult to understand. But if you want to analyze this data, you can create a report out of it. Report will give you more in-depth insights. So wherever there is data, now data is present everywhere for any product, whatever you're considering, there is data. So if there is analysis to be done on that data, you cannot do analysis on a normal table. I mean, you can still do it here, but if you do it in this manner, it is very useful for a person who is also expecting some answers from this data. So this is how the importance of analysis, this is how the importance of reporting the data is. Now, there are many other reports also. If you take a look at this report, now this is YouTube statistics. This is also a different report. There are multiple other visuals which are used here. What is your YouTube channel? What is their highest earnings? What is their lowest earnings? Even this specific dashboard is connected to one of the live website or live API. A live website or live API, it is getting extracts from that specific website or API. So you can develop any kind of report on any kind of data which you have. Only thing is you have to go back and identify whether that data is clean, whether that data is easy to be loaded to a specific reporting tool and do some analysis on it. So for a data analyst, reporting, business intelligence is must, but along with business intelligence, how you are understanding the data, how you are cleaning the data. Not every time the data is clean, right? The data can be in any form. The data can be on-prem also, data can be cloud data as well. Now, almost every data in current market is 90% of the data is cloud data. Yes, there are 10% chances that it might be on-prem data. But yeah, rare case, 10% is limited. 90% of the time, the data is available from the online sources or the cloud sources, which is frequently getting updated. So whenever the data gets updated, your report should also get updated. That's how the market is. That's how the business intelligence is. Any questions on this? Up till now, any questions? Okay, cool. Assuming that everyone would have got an idea. Now, from a data analyst point of view, why data analyst we have seen? Because wherever there is data, you have to do some analysis. Once the analysis is done, apart from analysis, why Power BI stack only? I mean, for our data analyst, there are multiple other products as well. Now, if you take an example of Tableau, Tableau is also one of the reporting product. You have Looker. Looker is a product of Google. You have ClickView. There are multiple products. ClickView, ClickSense, there are multiple products. Now, why only Power BI? Now, Power BI is also one of the products. Why only Power BI? And along with Power BI, what all additional tools are required? Now, only Power BI is very difficult to enter a market, enter any specific data analyst market, because there are many people who know basics of Power BI. So it is very difficult for an interviewer to go back and identify whether you are a right Power BI developer or not. Now, along with Power BI, if you have some additional tools which are used for analysis of data, which are used for extraction and transformation of data, if you have a good understanding of that, you can easily enter this market. Now, data analyst will have an option of multiple tools. Why only Power BI? That we are going to see. See, it's a product of Microsoft. ClickView, it's a product of Click organization only. It's a product of Google. Looker is a product of Google. And Tableau is a product of Salesforce. Right? Tableau has been purchased by Salesforce. So it's part and parcel of Salesforce. Salesforce is the parent organization for Tableau. See, for every product, if you enter a market, see, this is the common chart which you will see. The chart towards right. Let's not focus on this chart. Let's focus on this chart. A company named Gartner will always, for any product in the market, they'll always go back and identify whether your product is matching with the expectation of market hype or not. Now, if you take a look at this, there are 4 different quadrants. This looks like a square. Inside that square, there are 4 different squares. One is leader square, one is challenger square, one is niche players, and one is visionary. Now, how the data flows is, this is first, this is the topmost quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, and this is the fourth quadrant. The information flows this way. So who are part of this first quadrant are the leaders. Now, inside these leaders also, you can see Microsoft is way ahead than its competitors. The second product is your Tableau, which is a product of Salesforce. Along with Tableau, there are other products like Click, Google, Oracle, ThoughtSpot. But leader segment, you can see there is a difference here. There is a difference here. And this quadrant has been generated in June 2024. Now, why Gartner does this is, they'll try to give you an idea. If you're trying to learn any specific product, if you're trying to understand, if you're trying to analyze any specific product, which product is the market leader, how that product is improving, or whether that product is matching the market expectancy or market expectance or not. Microsoft is nothing but your Power BI. In terms of BI, Power BI is the market leader since last 6 or 7 years. Maybe you can assume 6 years, not more than 6 years, because it was introduced back in somewhere 2016 or 15. But when the introduction was made, it wasn't the market leader. After 2 or 3 years, it picked up the pace. And since last 6 years, Microsoft Power BI is the market leader in terms of reporting, in terms of business intelligence tools. Tableau was one of the leader. You have MicroStrategy here. MicroStrategy was part of this leader segment. And it is now not even a part of leader. It is now a part of challenger segment. This was one of the leaders for almost 10 years, from 2005 to 2006 or 7, from 2005 to 2016. Somewhere this was market leader. After that, Tableau was the market leader. And now, since last 6 years, Microsoft or Power BI is the market leader. So whether we are learning right product or not, yes, we would be learning a right product. But along with this product, what all components we would be learning, that we would discuss. Now, okay, accepted, Gartner is giving you the current market leader hype, accepted. But along with this hype, why only Power BI is required is, see, a product of Microsoft is very easy to use. If you take a look at the Tableau, the UI of Tableau is very complex. I'm not denying that Tableau is bad. I'm not denying that Looker is bad. I'm not denying that ClickView is bad. But there are few features Why Power BI is leader as compared to these tools? UI is one of the commonly used aspect. UI is nothing but your user interface. If you're trying to download a Tableau, if you're trying to download a Looker, or maybe you're trying to download a ClickView, if you're a very new person, it is very difficult to understand these products. The UI is difficult. Whereas if you take a look at this UI of Power BI, it is very easy. Now, why is it very easy? I'll give you some answers or some hints. It's a product of Microsoft. The one who are using Windows, one who are using Microsoft Office, one who are using Excel since last few years, for you, the Power BI is nothing but an upgraded version of Microsoft Excel. Now, Excel is, yes, you cannot say it as complete Excel. Power BI is not complete Excel, but yeah, it's an upgraded version of Excel. In Excel, you can do multiple analysis, but if you want to do some charts, you want to create some charts, that charts cannot be easily created in Excel, which can be easily created in Power BI. Reporting can be easily done. So one who have a basic idea about Excel, one who have UI exposure of Excel, one who have exposure of Microsoft Office, it is very easy to learn Power BI because Power BI is a product of Microsoft. It is based on Excel engine only. It works like Excel. Yes, Excel has its own characteristics, but somewhere Power BI is also 70 to 80% similar like Excel. Your formulas, your reporting, your cleaning of data, your Power Query concept, all these components are part and parcel of Microsoft Power BI. So that's the reason if you're using Windows for a longer duration, it is very easy to understand any Office products. And if you understand that Office products, Power BI is also very easy to learn. That's one of the biggest advantage. Now, along with this advantage, every product has its own pricing. Tableau is, I mean, for a few days, Tableau you will get free, but Tableau will cost you. It is comparatively costlier. Looker, it is cheaper. It is very cheaper as compared to Power BI, but the number of charts, the interactivity is not that great. Same goes with ClickView. ClickView is also costlier as compared to Power BI. But if you compare Power BI, it is a cheaper as well as easy to use product. Even Google Looker is cheaper, but it is not that easy. The number of charts are limited. The product is not that. If you compare Looker and Power BI is more stable product. So it is cheaper as well as more stable product as well. So that's the reason we would be learning Power BI. Along with Power BI, there are other few services. Now, what that services? You have to first understand what is the role of data analyst. So how a data analyst works? This is how the data analyst works. Data can be coming from multiple sources, multiple databases, multiple file formats. You want to extract that data. See, there are options. Either you connect this data directly to the Power BI also. This is the Power BI. Visualization is nothing but your Power BI. So you can directly connect this data to the Power BI, not required that you should always use a ETL tool. Now, what is the ETL tool? How is it important? That we would discuss it. See, you can connect SQL Server to the visualization tool. You can extract any files and you can load that files to the Power BI. Yes, it is possible. But why this in-between service is required? Why data warehouse is required? Why this ETL is required? ETL is nothing but extraction, transformation, and loading. Why this in-between segment is required? So let's take an example. Our data is of 5 GB. I'm trying to take an example. Our source data is of 5 GB. So if you load this 5 GB of data directly to the Power BI, the load on Power BI is so heavy that Power BI will work very slow, or probably it will not even load all 5 GB of data. There are limitations. I mean, it is not only with respect to Power BI, any visualization tool, if you take in market, if the data is very high, you have to break that data. Why that breaking data, why that transformation of data is required? Because it is very difficult for that product to load that 5 GB and do some reporting on it. It will hang. It will not give you the correct results, or sometimes it will take few minutes to load the data to the visuals also. So in order to avoid that unwanted circumstances, we have to use in between ETL services. Now, ETL services are specifically used by data engineers. This is specifically used by, extensively used. I'm not saying specifically, probably it is extensively used by data engineers. Why data analyst requires this ETL knowledge? See, nowadays, if you are working on any visualization, if you're working on any reporting, you know how the data should be. You know what data we need to extract. For a data engineer, what he will do, he will extract the data every day. Now and then he will create multiple pipelines. He's least bothered about visualization. But as a data analyst, you should always go back and check whether which data is useful for us. Only extract that data, not extracting all, assuming that it's 5 GB of data set, but not all 5 GB is required for the reporting. Maybe only 1.5 GB or 2 GB is required, which is useful for us. So as a data analyst, we know that only 1.5 or 5 GB, 2 GB data is important for us. So you can only extract that 1 or 2 GB of data. You can do some transformation. You can do some cleaning itself in the ETL process, and you can load it to the data warehouse. Now, what do you mean by warehouse? What do you mean by lakehouse? Maybe I'll give you an idea at the end, but let's understand the use of ETL. What is the role of data analyst here? Data analyst doesn't mean directly connecting to a reporting tool. You should use some ETL services, because if the data is high, you can clean that data, you can manage that data with the help of ETL tools, and then you can load filtered data to the visualization, which is more intact, which is easy to use. So that is how the BI, that is how the data analyst role should be. Only visualization, yes, 50% of visualization is your role. But along with this 50%, you should know 30% of ETL, or maybe 20% of ETL. I'm not saying end-to-end ETL. If you know how extraction, if you know how transformation works, and along with this 50% visualization, 20% ETL, if you know the SQL, what do you mean by SQL? Data, structured query language. Wherever data comes, you should have an exposure to SQL. Without SQL, any data related roles are zero. Take an example of analyst, engineering, scientist, BI engineer, BI analyst, any specific role you're trying to consider which is related to data, you should know SQL. So for the course, or for the data analyst, for the BI data or for the MS BI data, what important is 50% is your reporting, 30% is your SQL, and 20% is your engineering, which is nothing but your ETL services. This is how the bifurcation should be if you want to enter a market as a data analyst, as a certified. Maybe there are multiple certifications also. Once you get in-depth insights, you can go with the certifications and you can enter this market easily. Now, let's take a vice versa example. There are many people who know 60-70% of Power BI, but they doesn't know what the SQL means. Okay, they'll have a basic idea, but they cannot write a query. They know what does this ETL means, but they have never worked on it. So that's the reason there are many openings related to data analyst, but that openings are not getting easily matched up. Number of people who knows Power BI are more, but along with Power BI, why SQL is important, why ETL is important? Because the data cannot be same every time. It can be large in volume, it can be unstructured. Rather than doing everything in visualization, we can do prior to that, we can clean that data, and then we can do some analysis or reporting on it. So that's the reason you should know multiple entities prior to reporting, which is ETL, which is nothing but your database, and the database can be answered with the help of SQL, which is nothing but your structured query language. So this is the primary role of data analyst or BI analyst. So if you want to learn all these tools, if you want to learn all these tools, you should know what do you mean by SQL. You should be, anyways, we would be learning Power BI, and we would be learning the other services which are related to Azure. Now, why only Azure? That we would discuss now. See, if you take a look at this second chart towards left, this one. We have already seen this Gartner. If you take a look at this second chart, see, this is the current market cloud revenue. Current market cloud revenue. Now, in this course, we would be learning Azure as a cloud. We have seen the importance of a cloud almost 15 minutes back with the example. If you are purchasing any product, if that product is available online with 10 minutes delivery, people tend to use that 10 minutes delivery because it is easily available. Same goes with cloud. If you want to connect any specific data, you can connect it from any part of the world using your cloud. So that is the importance of cloud. Now, if you take a look at this, the chart, the line chart, which is giving you a trend, AWS is the market leader. It is almost 34 and 47. What is the difference? 13% plus 13% higher than Azure or higher than Microsoft Cloud. But if you take a look, somewhere around Q1 of 2019, Microsoft had a share of 25%, which has drastically increased to 34 or 35% in current market. Now, why only Azure? Why not AWS? Because we would be learning a Power BI. Power BI is a product of Microsoft. If you want to connect multiple sources, you can connect multiple sources which are available in Azure, not in AWS, not in Google Cloud. Because Azure is a product of Microsoft. Even Power BI is a product of Microsoft. It is very easy to use connection between Azure and Power BI rather than using other cloud services. So our primary aim would be how this Azure will help us, how cloud will help us to identify the data analysis, to do some analysis, that all components, that all ETL, specific to ETL. Now, if you've seen, whatever ETL we are doing prior to visualization, that all ETL can be done with the help of Azure Cloud, because Azure Cloud has all the ETL services present in it. There are multiple services. ETL is one of the services which is present in Azure Cloud. So we would be learning that ETL cloud as well. And if you see why Azure, Azure is one of the increasing cloud. It will increase somewhere after 2 or maybe, I'm not saying only specific to 2, maybe probably after 4 or 5 years, Azure would be the market leader. It would surpass the AWS market share. The AWS market share is drastically decreasing. I'm not saying, still the AWS is market leader, but it will take some time to change this trend. Probably in next 4 or 5 years, Azure would be the market leader. And if you see, rarely you can see there is a dip in Azure. There is nowhere a dip. Only one dip is available, this dip. From 28.7% to 28.2%, there is a dip of minus 0.5%. Only one dip. Apart from this one dip, wherever you go, there is an increasing trend. Almost all increasing trend. There is a small dip here also. But there is always an increasing trend. It increased from 25 to 35%. And if you see, the AWS has came down from 60 to 48%. So the reason to learn Azure, it is emerging cloud. Azure is a product of Microsoft. Easy to connect Azure along with Power BI. That is the reason we would be learning Azure. And inside this Azure, what we would be learning? We would be learning the ETL services which are used by data analysts for extraction, transformation, and cleaning of data. Now, what is the current market trend? For a data analyst, what is the current market trend? See, the chart towards left, the volume of US dollars spent on understanding the data. Back in 2010, it was 2 billion US dollars which were spent in the market to understand how this market works, how the data works. but somewhere in 2024, it increased to $130 billion. And going further, it would be 175, or probably if you take an example of 2026, somewhere it would reach $200 billion, which is being spent on the current data. Because if the data is increasing, spending on data should also increase. If you want to increase the analysis, if you want to do some understanding of data, you have to go back and check whether the data is correct or not. All this can be done from a data analyst. So if the data is increasing, the roles, the opportunities for data analyst will definitely increase. So, I mean, current market strategies, current market tech occupations, which are leaders, which would be leaders in future, data analyst is high. There are multiple other roles which are related to data also. If you take a look at senior data scientist, even data scientist is one of the important role in current market. But along with data scientist, data analyst is more frequently available, or more frequent opportunities are available as compared to data scientist, or as compared to data engineer as well. So moreover, fastest growing market trend, fastest growing tech occupation is your data analyst. More the data, more would be the data analyst opportunities. So if you're learning this data analyst, you are always in the market. The thing is, you have to always update yourself. How you are updating? You are not only stuck to one specific terminology, one specific maybe technical skill. You have to go back and update. Now the question is, if you're learning Power BI, if you're learning visualization, how can you update yourself? How can you update yourself? Let's go to the last. So if you take a look at this Microsoft Fabric, Fabric is the latest update. It is the latest update. So if you know Power BI, that doesn't mean you should know complete Fabric. Fabric is a combination of multiple other entities also. So this is the latest update. As and when the Power BI is getting updated, the Fabric will also get updated. So whenever there is an update, you should upskill, you should upgrade yourself so that you want to stay in this market for a longer duration. So that's how you should update. What we would be learning, we would be starting with this SQL. Somewhere SQL would be 22 sessions, or it would be, you can say, as 1 month. After SQL, we would be learning Power BI, which would be 2 months, probably 40 sessions, on an average 40 sessions. And after this, why and what kind of services we would learn in Azure? See, if you want to learn cloud, in specific to cloud, we would be learning Azure Data Factory, which is nothing but your ETL tool. Along with ETL, we would be learning some other services like ADLS, which is nothing but your storage account, your data warehousing. ADLS can be a data warehouse. There is a service called as Key Vault. There are services like Databricks, Synapse, and Logic Apps. See, this is advanced engineering. These services we would be learning with a basic understanding that why Databricks is useful for a Power BI developer, how Synapse is useful for a Power BI developer, how Logic Apps is useful for a Power BI developer. That all components we would be giving you an idea. Our primary aim would be on ETL. 70% would be on ETL and 30% on other services if you're learning Azure. So how the bifurcation would be? SQL, give me a moment. SQL, you would be starting with 22 sessions. Then we would be learning Power BI. Power BI would be in detailed. So we would be learning Power BI in almost 40 sessions. So how many sessions? 62. And 20 more sessions, 20 to 25, not only 20, it would be 25 plus 5. So 25 sessions we would be learning Azure. Now in Azure, as I've said, 70% would be focused on ADF, because only ADF is frequently used by Power BI developers. Along with ADF, we would be learning other services like ADLS, Key Vault, Databricks, Synapse, and Logic Apps with respect to data analyst role. So that would be 30%. Other 30% the other services. So 62 plus 25, 85 to 87 sessions we would be covering in detailed about this complete data analyst or BI analyst course. So that is the primary, this is the primary bifurcation. Somehow plus and minus sessions, plus and minus 4 to 5 sessions, not more than that. You can see 80 sessions would be completely covered. In that all 80 sessions, you would learn SQL, you would learn Power BI, and you would learn Azure services like ADF and other services like Databricks, Synapse, Logic Apps with respect to data analyst role. We would not be covering all this in detail. Databricks is not required in detail for a data analyst. It is for engineering only. Even Synapse. Now, what do you mean by Synapse? Synapse is a combination of ADF, which is nothing but your ETL. Synapse is a combination of ADLS. Synapse is a combination of Databricks, all combined together in one single service. So if you learn all these services, you can easily learn Synapse. So that's how Synapse works. And we would be learning Logic Apps, which is similar like Power Automate. I'm not sure how many of you know about Power Apps or Power Automate. Power Automate is your workflow entity, similar like Logic Apps only. So we would be learning these services also from a data analyst point of view, not from a data engineering point of view. ADF, I would be covering end to end in detail. Right? 80 plus sessions, starting with SQL, Power BI, and Azure services. This is how the course bifurcation would be. And what do you mean by Microsoft Fabric? The question comes, if you want to upgrade yourself, what do you mean by Microsoft Fabric? See, if you can guess, Data Factory. We have seen Data Factory here, which is part of Azure. So if you learn Data Factory in Azure, you can easily do that Data Factory in Fabric. Fabric is nothing but combination of multiple services which were independently available in Azure, but they have integrated in powerbi.com, which is nothing but a Microsoft Fabric. In Fabric, you can include Power BI reports, you can create data factory pipelines, you can create data engineering or Synapse pipelines, you can use it for data warehousing, or you can use it for data science as well. So the first and foremost question, let me try to answer. If anyone asks you, if you are a Power BI developer, and if anyone is asking, do you know Microsoft Fabric end to end? First question you should ask them. Fabric is a combination of data analyst, data engineering, and data scientist services. So if I am a Power BI developer, I should know what data analyst will do. Only that services are useful. Synapse data science is nowhere useful for a Power BI developer. Synapse data engineering also is not completely useful for a Power BI developer. What is useful? Data factory, Power BI, some part of data warehousing, some part of Synapse data engineering. What do you mean by data activator? All this we would be covering in this course along with Power BI. So Fabric is nothing but a combination of all these services which can be integrated together. With one login, you can access all these services rather than creating all these services separately in Azure cloud. And even Fabric is a product of cloud. It is a product of cloud. If you want to activate Fabric, you need to have Power BI premium per capacity, PPC license, or you need to have SKU license, which is all available in cloud itself. So Fabric is also a product of cloud, but they have kept all the services integrated in one single umbrella, which is nothing but a Microsoft Fabric. Right? So we would be covering all this along with Power BI, Microsoft Fabric, which is current market or latest update. Fabric is not clearly available in the market now. There are many services which needs a development. As and when we proceed further, you would get a more idea what this Fabric is, what are the limitations, and how you can use this Fabric. Going further, Fabric will improve. Probably it will take some years of time, but yes, Fabric is available in the market. Not completely, but yeah, it is a latest update. Right? So all this we would be covering from a BI analyst or data analyst point of view. Now the question comes, who can take up this course? See, anyone, if you are from a non-tech background also, this course would be covered in such a manner that we would be starting with A, B, C, very basics of SQL, very basics of Power BI. Then we would be jumping to the high level insights. We would not directly jump to the high level insights. So if you're very new to this SQL, if you're very new to this data analyst, if you are eager to learn, the question is, you should have eagerness to learn. Only then it is, easy to understand. You want to learn, but you are not putting your efforts, you're not, going back and understanding what we have discussed, then it is very difficult. So you should also put your efforts. I would be covering everything from basics, starting from ABC, then we would be jumping to the high level insights. Now, anyone from, anyways, if you're from any engineering field, you can learn this irrespective of your IT. I'm not saying only computer science students can learn. If you're from mechanical, if you're from electrical, if you're from any other electronics branch also, you can learn this course. You are a BCom graduate, you're a commerce graduate, you are an arts graduate, you are a science graduate. Anyone from any specific field can take up this course. The last point is also important. Person or people who have career gap, or maybe they have worked in different roles, they want to switch their role, even they can take up this course. So we would be covering everything in detail. It would be a long duration, almost 3.5 to 4 months. So we have started on 30th September. You can assume we have started on 1st of October. October, November, December. By end of January, we would be completing this course. SQL, Power BI, and Azure services, which, Azure means your cloud services, which are useful for a data analyst. More specific, we would be covering 70% of ADF in detail. Right? So good on time. If you have any questions, you are free to ask. Please raise your hand so that I can call your names. Maybe you can ask your question. I'll try to answer it. Yeah, Rohit, you can go ahead.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the session. My question is more related to the current project that I have. So, I have currently 14 years of experience into business warehousing, basically.
Okay.
And I am looking towards taking this course probably in respect to the project wherein we are connecting an SAP as a data source and using Power BI, or in fact trying to use the Microsoft Fabric to the best of its ability to project the data. So in that regard, would this course be helpful for me? What insights, if you could share, which would be helpful for me? Could you please put some light on that?
Okay. Now you said you have 14 years of experience. That means you would be working as a manager or lead there, right? Now the
Yeah.
question comes: you are connecting only SAP, or if you are using Fabric, that means you are using some pipelines. You are creating pipelines. Is it that way?
Currently, there is no architecture in place. So it is the pilot project that we are looking forward to. So we have two individual teams. One is the Power BI, and one is my team, which is the SAP team. Now we
Okay.
are trying to connect these two and drive this project as a pilot project to showcase to the customers how Power BI could be useful to them consuming the SAP data, basically.
Okay. So in Power BI, there is a direct connector for a SAP, but that connector is limited. You need to download an external connector as well, and you need to connect it to SAP. You can connect SAP. I'm not denying that, but the question is, if you want to use Power BI, if you want to use Fabric, you should first understand how these products works. Only then it is able to. It is easy to connect to the SAP and do some analysis. So maybe just to answer your question, connection is available, but along with connection, if you are very new to this Power BI, yes, this course would be definitely useful. If you're very new to this Fabric and Azure, because if you want to connect SAP, there is no, sometimes that direct connection doesn't work, or many times, I'm not saying sometimes, many times that direct connection won't work. So you need to use some ETL. That's the reason you people are using Fabric. The reason to use Fabric is you need to use a ETL. So for that ETL, we would be covering ADF. That ADF is already a part of Fabric, which is Data Factory. So definitely this course would be useful. But if you're only looking from a SAP point of perspective, then maybe it would be slightly different. If you want to learn Power BI, if you want to learn Azure, definitely this course would be useful. Just you can connect SAP data to the Power BI. There is an option.
Hi, sir. Good morning. This is Chinna.
Just a moment. Just a moment.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't
Yeah,
completed. Yeah, please.
yeah. Thank you for answering. Yeah, that is my aim actually to learn, the Power BI from the Power BI perspective, because anyways we have to display the data in Power BI. Share the data, collaborate, and do everything. My only last question would be, I need to lay the groundwork for the connections and whatever is required. So could you also help me? Maybe that might not be the part of the session, which is your agenda, basically to teach with other candidates as well. So I just want to understand, would I get some help in terms of, what groundwork is required in terms of connections, or how the display, how the data would be projected? Obviously, I will work on that, but I might have questions in that direction, which might need some answers. So
Okay.
yeah.
Now, see, SAP is nothing but your source. If you take any sources, let's take an Azure source itself. If you want to connect to Azure, once you get that Azure data to the Power BI, it would be the same data which you're getting from SAP also. The question is how you are connecting, and then further how you are analyzing. Analysis will remain same irrespective of whatever data source you're using. Only thing is you need to connect. Connection is easy. I mean, I can help you how you can connect to this app. Further, how you can analyze. Analyzing any kind of source data is common for all the sources, not only SAP. You take files, any random import files also, you take some cloud services, you take some SQL databases. Analysis of data would remain same for all the data sources. The question is how you are analyzing. Connection is easy. You can connect SAP. You can easily connect. The question is how you are analyzing. So that we would be covering all this. Maybe it would answer your question. Analysis is common for any data source. Connection, yes, I would be explaining how you can connect to a SAP.
Okay. Okay. Maybe there are certain prerequisites which are required. Maybe some firewall settings or something. Would it be fine if you could share maybe some documentation, maybe after these 5 sessions once I join the course, or however you feel comfortable, if
Okay.
there are certain documentations which would help me in the connection part, and how the data could be stably, in a stable manner extracted from SAP.
Okay. Now there are multiple online documents only available from the Microsoft Learn. There you will get a brief idea. I would be sharing that. Even I can share it now also. That isn't a problem. If you want to connect to any SAP sources, just only mention Microsoft Learn SAP connection. The first website, you can open that. They'll give you an idea how to connect a SAP as a data source. It is very easy. Now the question comes how your SAP is. Maybe it's on-prem. Usually SAP is all cloud only. But how that cloud is working, your IP, your what the firewall is getting enabled or not, whether it is disabled. So all that you have to go back and check. See, connection, you might feel some difficulty while connecting, but once it is connected, it is very easy.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's actually an on-prem system, so it's not cloud. So
Yeah. So on-prem, you have when we have to go back and identify what it is denying. Sometimes, most of the times, the IP or firewall is the common issue, but along with that, there are some connector issues also. So for on-prem, that is common. For cloud, usually difficult. Uh, I mean, if you're moving to Fabric, probably in future also SAP would be moved to cloud. That is what I'm assuming. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, but the course, if you want to learn Power BI, if you want to learn the aspects of Power BI, yeah, it would be definitely useful for you.
Okay. Thank you for the answers. Thank you.
Just a moment. I'll take a question which came on chat. So it's a question from Mohit. Will all the doubts be cleared on live? Yes. If you have any doubts in any sessions, you can ask at that time, or maybe you can write your questions and ask at the end of the session. I'll try to answer it. Usually I try to answer on the spot only. Yeah, if the answer is very large, maybe I can take a time. I'll go back and explain it at the end of the sessions, right? If you are into Power BI, I mean, if you're into banking sector and you want to shift your domain, the same question is from Mohit again. So yes, this would be useful if you want to switch your career. The question is, if you are into banking sector and if you have a valid PF account, your valid experience is all valid, you can switch your career from banking to Power BI. See, in banking also, most of the banks are using Power BI nowadays. Let's forget about the nationalized banks, but you're taking an example of any private banks, HDFC, ICICI, IDFC, Axis, all the banks are using reporting for their analysis. So you can easily scale up your resume that I used to work in bank, but I used to work for reporting. I have switched my reporting career. I've also learned some engineering aspects and I want to enter this field. That's how you can showcase. It is very easy to grasp knowledge and you can change your domain as well. Now, one more question, let me highlight. This course would be from 8 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning sessions. I would be again explaining about time, but this is common 8 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning. All morning sessions would be there. Right? The one who has questions, Sajib, you can have a question. You can go ahead.
Yes, first of all, very good morning, sir, and thanks for this session, sir. Sir, my question is, I am working as a data analyst on the skill set of Power BI, SQL, and Excel, sir. So, main question, sir, is my sir, should I learn Azure and Fabric for career perspective, sir? Because I'm little bit confused, sir. Should I learn or not, sir? And another question, sir, when will we start Azure and Fabric in this session, sir?
Okay. Now, see, if you are into Power BI and SQL, yes, see, only Power BI is not beneficial, but Power BI and SQL is always beneficial. But as I've said, if you want to connect any data, nowadays cloud is used and ETL is used. So that's the reason we are also integrating this Azure along with this course. And anyways, Fabric is a combination of all engineering, data scientist activities and services also. It would be beneficial if you learn this because going further, everything would be on cloud. Now the question comes, I mean, when we would be starting. See, for 1 month, it would be SQL. So assume that October would be SQL. 2 and 3 would be Power BI. So November and December would be Power BI. Probably by first week or second week of January, we would be starting the Azure.
Okay, in the first week of Jan, Azure and Fabric, sir.
Fabric would be covering along with Power BI only. See, Fabric is nowhere a separate product. If we are covering Power BI service, service is nothing but your Fabric. Power BI service is also available in Fabric. So that's how Fabric I would be covering. Then maybe we can jump to the Azure. Whatever you learn in Azure, that can be easily viewed or integrated in the Fabric as well. So Fabric combination of Power BI service and Azure. That's how Fabric works. So you can assume or
yes,
start.
Sir. Okay. Sir, but thing is that I know Power BI, SQL, and Excel, sir. Sir, I'm only interested for Azure and Fabric, sir. So you are saying Azure will be started first week of Jan.
You can
Azure.
You can start with Azure.
And what about sir Fabric? Because I will miss the Fabric, sir. You are saying Fabric will be included in the Power BI.
While learning Azure, yes, I would definitely explain how you can use it similarly in Fabric. I would be explaining that.
Okay, in the first week of Jan, I will join this class.
Yep, you can go back. You can check with the KSR team. Yes, there is an option to directly join with Azure.
Azure in the first week Jan. Okay, sir. I will wait, sir. And sir, sir, I am most of the time, sir, I try to reach out to you, sir, from the technical team, but didn't find your number, sir. So that's why I
Yes, sir.
connected to you.
You can connect with the KSR team. I am the trainer here. Once you are enrolled to this course, you would be added to a Power BI. You would be added to a Teams group as well as you would be added to a WhatsApp group. So it is very easy to connect with me there. Related to this course, enrolling for this course, we have KSR team, multiple people. They would help you out. Once you're enrolled, yeah, definitely I would also come into picture about your questions, about your ask, whatever. Anyways, 5 sessions are free. You can ask as many as questions you have.
Okay. Timing will be same, no, sir? 8 to 9.
Yeah, 8 to 9:30. See,
8 to
1
9:30.
hour, 15 minutes would be our teaching time, you can say, and 15 minutes would be a buffer time for questions or for some leisure time or maybe a buffer time. So I'll take 70 to 75 minutes as teaching and 15 minutes of buffer time.
So, okay, sir. Thanks, sir. And I will connect to sir technical team. Till January first week, I will wait, sir. In the December, I will connect to technical team, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question from Pankil. Pankil, you're a part of our team. You would be added to the sequel. You've already learned Power BI. So do not worry. This is a sequel only. We would be starting a new batch with all these services. So we would be starting with SQL at the first. Okay. So please raise your hand so that I can answer your questions. Yeah. I guess.
Hi.
Hey, Divya. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Ritesh. I have a question, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to ask in this session, but since you're here, I just wanted an understanding. So I've been working as a Power BI developer since like a year now, and I'm not very good at DAX, so this is like mainly I wanted to get better in that and also learn other concepts that you were saying. So they've been actually introducing Power Apps and they've been pushing training on that a lot, and they've actually opened a separate created a separate team just for the Power Apps. So how do I understand, like, you showed the which ones upcoming and how it is useful for us in the future. So how do I understand why I need to opt for Azure versus the Power Apps, because Power BI is a part of Power Platform as well as, like you said, the Fabric, right? Or Power Platform is in turn part of Fabric, or two are separate, or which one do I focus on, or why do I choose this versus that?
Okay. See, what I got is Power BI, but not in depth. You want to learn
Yeah,
more in terms of DAX, more in terms of the latest Fabric introduction also. Now, the question is, see, even if you're working for, you're working from India, you're working from US, how is it?
I'm working from US.
Okay.
So my client is Wells Fargo.
Can you repeat the last line, what you have said?
I work for Wells Fargo. I'm a contractor.
Okay.
So my client is Wells Fargo.
Okay, cool. So are Wells Fargo is using any Azure services or any other cloud services?
I guess they're using, but I'm not a lot into that end. So I'm mainly into kind of building the reports and then doing into workspace administration and also pipelines and LOB support in regards to Power BI and training and everything.
Okay.
So
you want to move from that role to a development role. That is what your aim is.
No, so I want to get better in Power BI. That is my first goal. And the second thing that I want to understand is, do I learn Azure or the Power Apps? Why do I do that versus this?
Okay.
So which side do I go?
To answer this, Power Apps is nowhere related to the data analyst. Power Apps or Power Automate, that are totally different. Power Platform is totally different. Okay, in that course also we are covering Power BI.
Right.
So what you said is you're already part of a batch in Power Apps, right?
No, I actually wanted to join that, but it already started, so I actually missed it. But
Okay.
because Power BI is part of this and that, so why do I choose this versus that, or why do I choose Azure versus Power Apps? I
Okay.
don't understand that.
Now, this is more a kind of data and engineering, I mean, the analyst as well as engineering role. If you're
Okay.
learning Power Apps, yeah, there the exposure to Azure is zero. The exposure to Azure is zero there. There is no Azure, there is only Power Apps and Power BI. That's how it works.
Okay.
So Power Apps, yeah, if you want to develop a small scale application or a website without any coding, that is how Power Apps will work. Drag and drop. And Power Automate and Logic Apps, both are similar. Anyways, we would be learning Logic Apps here.
Right.
So
Right.
no Azure exposure in Power Apps, but as I've said, it is a slightly different field. There, Power BI and Power Apps is there. If you want to learn Power Apps as well as Power BI, that is a different role. But if you want to learn Azure and Power BI, see, even roles are slightly different. No one will ask you to learn Azure if you want to learn Power Apps. If a person is asking to learn Power Apps as well as Azure, that means somewhere the role is kind of lead role or a bigger role. That is totally different perspective. But Power BI is anyways present here. In detail
Right.
would be covered. In case of Power Apps, Power BI is limited also, and Power Apps would be more there.
Okay.
That's how the, I mean, progression of course would be Power Apps, Power Automate would be more, then Power BI, and maybe zero to no Azure. Here, SQL, Power BI, and Azure. More specific, these three components would be covered. So you have to go back and identify which role is more feasible for you.
Okay, because because in both of these sets, I only know I'm only introduced to Power BI. So I'll be new to Power Apps and I'll be new to Azure. So I know neither. So that's why I was trying to identify, what is better for me to, how do I approach this?
Okay. Now the question, as I've said, you have to go back and identify which role is more feasible. I mean, depending on your current role, which you're working for Wells Fargo, you have to go back and identify which is correct fit for you. But yeah, as I've said, cloud exposure, there is zero. Here it is, as I've said, we would be covering Azure services. There it would be more a kind of Office, Microsoft Office or Microsoft Office suite.
Okay. So I have no coding background. So do you think learning Azure would be, I mean, I know that you said any background, even if you're coming from arts or non-tech, you're still good. But I just needed a confirmation, that's all.
See, our course 70% would cover all. It's more a combination of 70% non-coding and 30% coding. Now, in this 30% also, 20% is your formulas. If you have completed your schooling with a very good grades or not even good grades, if you remember your schooling formulas, in 30% of coding which we would be doing, 20% would be related to formulas only. 10% end-to-end coding we would be requiring. DAX is your coding and SQL is your coding. Along with DAX and SQL, there is nothing which you want to code here in Power BI or any Azure services.
Okay.
So if you have an interest, you want to put an effort, only 30% effort is required for SQL and DAX. 70% is all non-coding. That's how the course is. So that 30%, that guarantee you should put. I mean, I cannot give you, as I've said, I would be starting with ABC. So it is very easy to understand. Now the question is whether you are going back and again reiterating what I've said, you're practicing it. Yeah, only then it would be easier to progress further related to this course. Power BI, anyways, you would understand. But once I jump to the DAX, you need to understand the formulas. That's how the DAX works. Same goes with SQL.
Okay.
Now I have few questions on the online. See, I have already answered. Pankil, I guess you might have got the answers. Ms, you are added for SQL. So I have a question from Chinna that I have a doubt on Copilot. Does AI impact on this job? Let me give you an idea. This is one of the common questions which I've been getting. Now, along with this course, See, we would have resume preparation sessions. We would have LinkedIn account preparation sessions. In between, I would be taking. See, I'm the only person who would be taking all this. LinkedIn account. There would be a session related to agile project management also. As and when there would be some sessions conducted by other KSR trainers as well related to the current market. There would be a placement session, placement cell session, which is conducted by Mahesh itself. Mahesh is the one who is organizing, who is controlling all this KSR. So he would be connecting, or he would be conducting all placement sessions. Placement means how, whether you have applied for a company, you're not getting a call, whether what you're lagging. So all that can be answered in the placement cell sessions, which are conducted on daily basis, somewhere on daily basis. I'm not saying every day, but probably on daily basis, 2 days, 3 days a week, 3 days a week, or 4 days a week. So that access you will anyways get. Resume, LinkedIn, agile preparation, yes. I would be covering all this. I would be the only trainer who would cover all these sessions all together. Timings would be 8 to 9:30. Yeah, resume LinkedIn preparations would be on Saturday or Sundays, one of the Saturday or Sunday for 1 hour. That's how it works. Once the session is done, you would be given an idea how you can prepare your resumes. So all in detail would be covered. Right now, I have a question related to AI. Does AI will impact Power BI role or any data analyst role? See, let's take an example. Let's take a simple example. Give me a time. These are all the jobs. Let's take a simple example. Now, what do you mean by Copilot? Copilot is nowhere new in Power BI. Copilot was available since the introduction of Power BI. The name was different. It was Q&A. Power Q&A is nothing but your Copilot only. Now the question comes, Copilot is nothing but your AI, artificial intelligence. Whether it will have an impact, let me answer this question. 50% it will have an impact and 50% it will have zero impact. 50% is totally zero. 50% yes, it will have an impact. Now what does this 50% yes and 50% no? See, if you are working on Power BI, there is already a Q&A which was available. How this Q&A will work? Only when the data is cleaned, only when the data is modeled. Assume that you have 4 tables. You need to do a modeling. Only then you can use this Power Q&A and create a report. But if there is no modeled data, if there is no cleaned data, how this Copilot or Q&A will work? It will not work. How this modeling is done, how cleaning of data is done, Copilot will never clean your data. Copilot will only create visuals. It will give you some recommendation. So zero impact is this. Modeling of data, cleaning of data, understanding of data can be done by manual purpose or a human brain only. Now, how this 50% will have an impact? If you were creating a report which will take 4 days, 4 days for visualizations and creating DAX. With the introduction of Copilot, it will take 2 days only. Because you can ask the question to Copilot, it will suggest some answers. Depending on that, you can improve the performance of any visual or DAX formulas. That's how Copilot will have an impact. Other than that, it cannot automatically create end-to-end report. There should be manual intervention. And take it in return that Copilot will have only 50% impact, that too on visualization, not on cleaning data, not on modeling data, only on visualization. Zero impact on SQL, zero impact on getting data from multiple sources. It will have an impact only on creating visuals as well as writing some DAX formulas. Copilot was already present in DAX, which was called as quick measure. Now it is called as Copilot. Names are different, but it was already present previously. Okay, regarding job opportunities. See, there is no guarantee of job given from KSR. We would definitely help you to post your resumes. KSR has a good connection with multiple HRs around this IT field, around this IT domain. We would definitely help you to post your resumes. If you're good enough, we would always share your resumes with the respective HRs. That is how it would work. But how to get into this field, how your resume should be, how it would be easy to get shortlisted, that all I would be covering in resume preparation sessions or in between sessions also. So there you will get a brief idea. Maybe we would be sharing around 20 to 30 different resume formats also. You can go back and use that formats for your own resume preparation so that it is very easy to get shortlisted in many organizations. But as I've said, guarantee is not there. Just definitely placement sessions or placement cell, which is conducted by Mahesh, that would also definitely help you. No weekend classes, only weekdays, Monday to Friday. Yeah, the in-between sessions like Resume, LinkedIn, Agile, some random sessions would be on weekends, maybe probably on Saturday or Sunday mornings, 1 hour, 1.5 hour. Along with this course, we would be covering real-time project as well. Yes, we would be covering real-time projects as well. Once the SQL is done for SQL, there is no real-time project, but yeah, I would be sharing all question and answers, maybe questions for practice purpose. For Power BI, we would be covering, yep, project. Along with Azure also, we would be covering a project. So need not worry, project would be covered. The question is, many people will ask only project would be covered. There are sessions which are conducted by many other institutes for 2 days or 1 day, how to cover a project. See, if you learn basics of Power BI, creating a project is very easy. The question is, you should learn how Power BI works. That is first important. We would be covering projects. I have multiple data sets which would be used for projects that I would be sharing at the end of Power BI, at the end of Azure sessions for the projects. I have a question from Amol that was in teaching field for more than 11 years. Yes, you can switch your career. The question is, placement, as I've said, we would help you, but guarantee is not there. And any institute will never guarantee. Because the current market is more fragile, we would definitely help you. If you want to enter this field, Amol, I am assuming that if you were in the teaching field, assuming that you will have a PF account. See, I would not recommend to put down any fake experience because many other companies are going back and checking your previous experience. If it's a fake experience, they will directly disqualify. Even if you're in non-tech field, but if you have a valid PF account. Worst case, if you don't have PF account, but if that company is valid, you can still enter this field. You can showcase your previous experience as data analyst experience. Now, how you can showcase? If you learn this course, minimum of 3 years, you can showcase your experience as a data analyst, minimum. If you have more than 3 years, if you have 7, 8, 11 years of experience, you can showcase 5 to 6 years as well. But it all depends on how you're grasping. Definitely, it will help you to gain a knowledge of 3+ years, all into Power BI and Azure. Mohit has a question. As I have zero knowledge on MS Excel, it would be difficult to learn Power BI. No, it is not difficult. Power BI is not getting automated. Fabric, Copilot, all this introduction will help you to get the process automated. Okay. Muskan has a question that how much package can I expect after this course? I have 5 years of non-tech experience. Okay. Hey man, who is this? Just a moment. Okay, now, yeah, any other questions? I guess if you want to have a question, you can raise your hand. Yeah, Kiran.
Pritesh, good morning. See, I have a question. Right now, I have 5 years of experience in Power BI developer, but my organization now wants to, we need to learn the Azure. Okay, whatever right now we are implementing everything, we are implementing on-premise data sources only. But my company gives a good opportunity. Okay, just we can learn the Azure, then we can, whatever we are handling right now on premises, we need to move to the cloud-based application. Okay, right. This is they are giving to the maximum 45 days. As early as possible, we can learn the Azure concepts and everything. It is good for you like that. Okay. Do you think already this, whatever you write, I hope you already you connected so many sessions. Maybe in case if I opted for the anything, right, maybe only for the Azure and Fabric, right? Already, I hope already record sessions available, right? Can I go there? Then it will be helpful for me.
Okay, for recording sessions, I mean, there is an option. Now it is, I mean, I'm not the right person to answer whether you will get an access, how you will get an access. You will get an access, but how you will get an access, that KSR team will definitely help you.
Okay.
Just a moment, I will share my screen.
Okay.
So if you're new, please visit our website. This is our website, KSR Data Vision.
Okay.
See, you can get the first very thing once you log into this website, or once you not even log in, once you get into this website also, it will send you a pop-up for career guidance. You can mention your details, the KSR team will reach out to you, or else there is an option for WhatsApp also. This will anyways reach out to the team. You can ask a question here, or you can call to this number.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, you will get that your answer would be clarified there, because yeah, I'm not the right person, but yeah, you will definitely get the recorded versions.
Okay, thanks, Ritesh. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So to answer Muskan's question, how much package you can expect? See, it all depends on how you're giving you an interview. But from a data analyst point of perspective, experience into 3 is minimum what the current market follows. So if you're showcasing 3, you can expect minimum of 3 into 3, 9 to 10 LPA. Minimum, I'm saying minimum. Sometimes it would vary as 3.5 also, which is highest. 3.1, 3.2 to 3.5 is highest. After a saturation limit of 10 years, that you're showcasing 10 years, Power BI is not 10 years old. Power BI is somewhere around 8 to 9 years old. And since last 6 or 7 years, it is frequently used. So for Power BI, you're showcasing 6 and you have 10 years of experience. How it will work? 6 into 3.5, you can mention. Somewhere it would be 20 LPA minimum for 10 years. But if you have a good exposure to cloud, you can expect plus 5 also, which is 25. But it all depends how you're giving an interview. But as I've said, 3 is what into experience 3 is what you can minimum expect. So Nikki has a question. I'm having 3 years of experience, .NET experience. I want to switch my role. Yes, you can. .NET is a product of Microsoft. You can always switch. For Power BI with .NET is always an added advantage. If you want to connect some .NET, what you call, I missed that name. Your .NET APIs, or probably your .NET backend sources, if you want to connect, yes, you can definitely connect it to Power BI. It would be helpful. Maybe you want to switch your full stack role. .NET would be more kind of full stack or backend role. It would be helpful for you. Madhur has a question. I'm versed with Power BI and SQL, but wanted to learn, update. I don't have experience in IT. Is this course for me? Madhur, if you're able to speak, let me ask you a question. So you have Power BI and SQL well versed, but you're into non-tech field, right?
Yeah.
So how you are using Power BI and SQL there?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. I didn't get that. Sorry.
How you are using Power BI and SQL in the non-tech field? Just wanted to check.
Ani, I'm having on my day-to-day office use. I'm in project management actually. I'm a project manager in a mechanical company.
Okay.
So my day-to-day, my company doesn't let me use that, but for reports creation, and for further analysis, basic analysis, and getting the data from basic sources only, Excel or CSV only, I'm using that SQL and Power BI.
Okay. And in SQL, I mean, are you well versed? That means you are good in stored procedures, the high level SQL, or you have?
No, sir. CT is Windows functions. Even these stored procedures, I'm well versed with all this.
Okay. Then probably see only the part which is left out is your Fabric and Azure. You can directly join at that probably from January at that perspective. For now, anyways, we would be covering SQL and Power BI, which you already know. Course is useful, definitely. But as I've said, if you only want to learn Azure, then you have to wait probably till next 2 or 3 months.
Right. Thank you.
The demo class has been delivered. Can you please help me with the cost? Okay. Now, the first day I haven't mentioned the cost. Costing would be 30K. In this 30K, I'll justify it. We are paying somewhere 2K for your Power BI license. Power BI license would be given from our end. So 28K is what the ideal course is, and 2K for the Power BI license. You will get Power BI Premium per user license, not Power BI Pro, Premium per user, which is 2K. And this would be for 60 days. Post 60 days, you can still extend it. How you can extend it, I will definitely show you. There is an option for installment. If you pay in 3 installment, it is 30K only, 10, 10, 10. If you pay in one time, it is 27K. And if you pay in 2 installments, it is 14 plus 14, 28K. Related to payments, how it can be made, whether your online payment is made, whether a card payment, whether a UPI payment, you can definitely reach out to the KSR team. Anyways, we would have 4 more sessions going further. At the end, maybe on Saturday, maybe on Friday, I would definitely, the KSR or Mahesh would join you. He will help you how to enroll for this course as a paid course, how to make a payment. He would be the right person. But 30K, 3 installments, 10, 10, 10, 2 installments, 14, 14, one-time payment, 27. For justification, as I've said, 2K, we are paying it for the Power BI Premium per user license. 2K, it is valid for 1 month. We are giving you 60 days. So somewhere you can say that 2K plus 2K, we will get some discount, but anyways, it would be 4K. So you can justify it for 30K. That is how it works. Related to payment, I'm not the right person here, how you can make a payment, but there are options. You can make a payment using card, online, UPI, direct bank transfer. All the options are available. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. For my side question, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead, Sajid.
Can I? Yeah. So myself, Shazib. Sir, actually, I already mentioned you. I am working as a data analyst on the skill set of Power BI, SQL, and Excel, sir. So, my question is, sir, one thing is, sir, Power apps and Power Automates, and one thing is, sir, Azure and Fabric. Sir, in between both, which kind of tools should I choose, sir? Azure or Fabric or Power Automates and Power Apps, sir?
That all depends on the role which you're working.
I'm working, sir, as a Power BI, SQL, Excel, sir.
Okay, you want to move to the Power Apps. You want to create some small scale applications and then use some automation. There, the Power Platform is the best fit. But in Power Platform, as I've said, there is no cloud. Okay, but that is different role. There are roles which are only related to Power Automate or Power Platform along with Power BI. But if you want to learn engineering as well as BI analyst, then you should know cloud. In that case, this is the best fit. That's how it works. It all depends on what kind of role, what kind of expectation is from your current organization. I have seen people who also know Power Automate, who also know Azure also, but as I've said, they are more experienced people. Person who knows both the entities are very rare. with less than 5 years of experience. More than 5, more than 7 years of experience, people usually know all these components. Okay, now the question is, you want to learn both of them, then it would be a time consuming task. You have to decide which is best fit for you, a cloud with Azure or Power Platform with Office Suite. Power Platform, maybe it's Power Apps, Power Virtual Agents, the Power Platform is there. There are many virtual agents means you can create a bot there. Power Pages is there. So that's how it works. That is a different course.
Sir, but what will be your suggestion, sir? In between two, which one should I choose, sir?
Just a moment. Suggestion would not help you. The question is which role you're looking out for. That is also important. Even Power Automate, Power Platform is also good. I'm not denying. But the question is there is no engineering. That is not called as engineering. That is called as or a kind of application developer, Power BI application developer. Here, this is called as BI engineering because it includes the engineering stuff as well, like ETL. Now you have to decide whether ETL is good fit for you or creating apps and Power Automate flows is good for you.
Okay, got it, sir. And sir, and if I join Azure batch in the first week of January, then both will be covered, Azure and Fabric, according to you, sir. Okay.
Yep.
And what will the fee, sir, for only for Azure and Fabric, sir?
That would be somewhere around. Maybe I'm not the right person, but yeah, I'll again go back and check. You can check with the KSR team because it all depends whether you're learning, whether you're joining from Power BI or you're joining from only Azure. You can go back and
no,
check.
Sir, I don't want to learn Power BI. Actually, no Power BI. I want to learn only Fabric and Azure in the month of first week of January.
Okay. So in that case, see, wait until that time. The fees would be somewhere around 12 to 15K. It would vary, but yeah, the best person to answer is your KSR team. Connect with this number. He will definitely help you out. Mahesh, who's the organizer or maybe who's maintaining all this stuff, all the KSR team. You can go back and check with him. He would be the right person to answer.
Sure, sir. Sure. I will wait, sir. Sure. Thanks, sir. Thanks.
Any other questions? Amol, go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, Amol. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Actually, my question is, sir, related to Excel, sir. For this course, sir, do we require to learn advanced Excel?
Okay, good question. Along with this course, you would be given advanced Excel course free. There are already recorded sessions for advanced Excel that would be shared with you completely free. So if you want to learn Excel along with this, you can always learn. That recordings are available for 1 year. That would be shared directly. Once you enroll, it would be automatically available. So need not worry, advanced Excel is directly shared with this course.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions? So it's almost 9:50. If there are no questions, anyways, we will have still 4 more days of free sessions. You can join. Once on Friday, I'll give you an idea. How can you enroll? How can you proceed with the further sessions? You can park your questions for next 4 days. Also, if you have any, I'll be able to answer it in next 4 days. Yep. Good on time. I am assuming that there are no questions. Let's connect back tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good day.